Shemai! I'm going to take a look at this fretless, cheaper end of the market bass ukulele today. So being completely upfront, I've been sent this bass ukulele for free to review. It is a company I've actually bought from previously, but I just want to make sure you guys are aware of that. What I am doing and what I've said to this company is I would make a video if I was happy with the instrument, and I wouldn't make a video. I would just contact them if I wasn't happy with the instrument. All right, I'm not advertising for people, and there is a reason, in fact there are a few reasons why I want to look at this bass ukulele today. Okay, so the company I've got this from is actually where I got my cheap brandless Pinky bass ukulele from. You've seen this featured in many videos. I've had it for well over a year. So let me just explain how I've ended up with this one. Right, I don't go asking companies, please send me instruments. In fact, I turn down or ignore quite a few requests for me to look at certainly cheaper ukuleles. This being a bass ukulele makes it slightly different, but basically I'd contacted the company to ask about Pinky because so many people ask me about that bass uke, and I wanted to know, was there a brand that I could put to it? And they replied back with yes. They are Muzu on Amazon. Their eBay name, Eastern Sound. All right, and this is where I think some of the, not confusion, but it's quite difficult to find out where some of these instruments are coming from. So I'd sort of asked about Pinky, and they said, yes, you can say it's Muzu brand. And I'd mentioned because people have been asking me in videos. And the next thing they said, oh, can we send you some instruments to have a look at? I explained, I'm not advertising, but I will review them. And if I'm happy with them, I'll make a video. Right, so this F-Hole Fretless, that's one of the reasons I really wanted to have a good look at this. F-Hole Fretless bass ukulele. On eBay and Amazon, it has got a brand on it, which is Batking. I resisted from putting any Batman costumes on today, okay? So this is actually a Batking, but this one doesn't have the logo on the headstock. Right at the cheaper end of the market, 120 odd pounds. I think they're about 121 on eBay and about 125 on Amazon. So they are really cheap. So I want to know, is it worth buying one of these at the cheaper end of the market? I've said before, if you're a beginner, starting with a fretless can be quite difficult. I'm a double bass player, so I love playing fretless. Now this bass ukulele is one of the very few I've seen that is completely unlined. Obviously it's got no frets, but there's no fret markings either, so it actually looks more like a double bass than most other fretless instruments. Right, so the specs of it. I've just said it's unlined. It does have its side markings, okay? So they are there, so you do have a clue where you're going, but playing fretless, it's more about using these. All right, you've really got to listen to what you're playing. So it's got side markings, but it doesn't have fingerboard lines where the frets would go. What else is different about it? These F-holes. All right, it's quite stylized, similar to Carla Journeyman, but they don't do this fretless version. So the F-holes are on here. Other things, it's got built-in tuner and EQ, all right? The tuner works brilliantly. I'll show you a bit more with the EQ when I plug it in. Something else that's really different about this bass ukulele than certainly any others that I've seen, it's got, obviously it's an active bass uke, so it's got its battery compartment there. It takes a 9-volt, you know, the big square batteries. It's got its standard jack plug, 1/4-inch jack plug, but next to that, hang on, I'm going the wrong way, it's got a balanced XLR output. Now, as I said, I haven't seen that on a bass ukulele before. I did test it, okay. First of all, I plugged it in to my little mixer. It worked. I didn't take a sound sample of that because my mixer, I don't know what I've done to it. I've put various settings on, so it sounded like it was in a cave, okay. But I also plugged this into my behind me, my audio interface, and did a little recording on GarageBand. And this is what it sounded like. And in fact, I've got a new intro. And it is the recording of this plays the bass line in the intro. So some more specifications: mahogany front, sides and back. I'm assuming laminated, it doesn't say anything different. It does have an access point in the back to get to strings. I have opened it up and had a good look in there. It's tidy enough inside. Bit difficult to actually see, all right, but I have been in there and checked that out, and that is a good feature to have on a bass ukulele. Being able to access the strings from the back makes them a lot easier to change. As I said, this one doesn't have a logo on it, okay, but the other ones that I've seen on eBay and Amazon do have Batking engraved. It's not a sticker on it, all right. The tuners themselves work fine. They are unbranded, all right, but they do work. I'm not sure whether it's a bone or a composite nut. That's absolutely fine on there. Rosewood fingerboard, and I'm assuming rosewood saddle as well. If it had metal strings on here, I would be slightly concerned with a rosewood fretless fingerboard. With the rubber strings on here, I don't think it's going to be an issue at all. I've shown you the F-holes. It's got quite a nice, delicate little binding going around the edge of that. The overall finish of it, I can't see any major issues with it at all. You know, it's not the nicest looking finish. It's a mahogany laminate, but it's quite a nice deep mahogany colour. I can't see any issues with the build quality of it. It's got quite a nice heel at the neck. Now then, this is something I would nicely suggest to any bass uke makers, all right, and this one needs it. It's got the strap button at the bottom, but it doesn't have a strap button on the neck. Now, it's very, very difficult to play a bass ukulele properly without the strap. There are ways of sort of, you know, sorting that. First of all, I'll show you in a minute. I've got a strap that I can put under here. What I will probably end up doing, though, is actually drilling a strap button into the neck myself. All right, so that is something which I would make as a suggestion, that this could make this bass much better. And it's such a simple thing, strap button into the neck. If you're really into the details, it's 30 inches overall length. In the adverts, it's saying 20-inch scale. I've measured it. I think it's nearer 21 inches, but that's all within the realm of a normal bass ukulele scale. Action wise, it's not quite the same as measuring for a ukulele at the frets and things, but it's certainly, I don't know how well you'll see that, it's very playable, and of course because it's fretless and the rubber strings make it very easy to press down. Right, you can just see I'm just finishing off fitting a strap on here. My preference is to put the strap by there, but in this case I'm just using a snazzy little leather attachment at the top of the strap, which goes underneath the strings, okay? So it is possible to use something like this without the strap button. Remember, when you're plugging things in, make sure your amp is switched off or at least on mute, like this one is. So the first, and of course the most important thing is it works, okay? So I've had this for about a week and a half, so I have been playing it a fair bit, all right? Do I think the pickup, now the pickups here are under the saddle, do I think the pickup is consistent? Let's try it. So I'm going to try and pluck the strings as evenly as possible. They're pretty good. I've tried some bass ukuleles where it's been fairly obvious that one string is either much louder or much quieter. I can't really hear any obvious differences. It'll be interesting to see if it's noticeable on the actual recording, but I can't hear any real inconsistencies. Fine, nice enough to play. It's quite warm today and I do have sweaty hands. A couple of the strings are a little bit sticky. You can hear that then. I'm not going to necessarily put that down to the strings on here because I find that on other bass ukuleles as well. And of course it could be because it's new. Little bit of the weather report there. So Birdland, just in case you're interested. The reason I wanted to play something quite high up the neck was just to see what it's like with this cutout, and I've got to say it did make it nice and easy to go up. Something else that you do find with some bass ukuleles, especially when you're playing higher up the neck, is it can have a tendency to fall off the edge of the fingerboard. All right, not so with this one. Those strings are staying well and truly planted over the fingerboard, and as you could hear, nice. Intonation, now it is very difficult because it's fretless, and at the end of the day intonation is a bit like playing a violin. If your finger goes in the wrong place, you're going to be out of tune. Tuner works. One little thing, volume absolutely fine. Okay, I very rarely use the EQs on these. I wish I could remember who. Somebody has very recently asked me to do a video on EQ in a bass, and I will. I hardly touch these, to be honest. The volume works. I tend to roll the volume off. I never have it on full blast. The bass is almost up full. That's generally where I like it on these. All right, you can hear the bass disappear and come back. There's a middle. Again, I tend to pull the middle so it's under half. I can't hear any difference when I'm moving the treble. Now that could be a number of things. It could be just I'm missing it and I'll hear it on the recording. It could be that because it's new, it needs to sort of, I gotta twiddle it a little bit. If I'm brutally honest, I was playing this for days before I even tried the EQ, and because I automatically put the bass up, I didn't even notice the treble wasn't working or possibly isn't working. Okay, so that's just something, that wouldn't bother me in the slightest as long as the bass one is working. But as I said, I very, very rarely even look at the EQs on here. I tend to turn the volume up to full, then back a little bit, and the bass up almost to the top, and that one back a bit, and then I'm good to go. Turn the volume back up a little bit. Yeah, it's nice to play. It's a nice profile on the neck. It is a bit annoying having to have that strap there. I will be putting a button at the heel of the neck here. Obviously, with a U-bass like this, there isn't really anywhere to rest your thumb. Sometimes my thumb goes on the string. Sometimes it sort of hovers above the body. With this one, I don't tend, with a normal ukulele, you tend to strum over the fingerboard. That's a long way from the pickup down there. So I tend to pluck it a little bit closer to the bridge. Right, just before I give you my opinion, it does also come with a gig bag. All right, it's got the rucksack straps. It's got a nice pocket on the front and a handle. I would say probably about 10mm padding. All right, so not the greatest case, but better than nothing. And, not bad. Certainly keep away scratches and things. So, £120-ish. Cheap, all right? eBay and Amazon. It's definitely playable. I quite like it to play, actually. I do like fretless, all right, but I'm enjoying the fact that it doesn't have the lines on there. I think it looks different with those nice F holes. It's playable. In fact, it's more than playable, all right, and the same way as I found with this one, all right, relatively cheap again. This one's about 180 odd pounds, okay, compared to the 120, but they are both very, very playable instruments. Things that I would prefer different, strap button. It's not a big deal, all right. I know I've mentioned it a few times, and not many other things that I can mention about it, to be honest. But yeah, also as well, if your tuner is switched on, all right, you can see there, all right, the colour, the light is on, and you plug that into the amp, it won't work. Make sure your tuner is switched off. And as well, just for you to be aware, I put the battery in this when it arrived, all right? Don't do what I've done before, go plug something in and go, oh, it doesn't work. You need to put the battery in. So £120-ish, available on Amazon, Muzu, and Eastern Sound on eBay. As I said, they have sent me this as a review instrument. Would I recommend it? If you're looking for a cheap, fretless bass ukulele, then yes. I've played other cheap fretless ukuleles, and they've had very, very sharp sides. This doesn't have that. They've had possible issues with inconsistency in the pickups. This doesn't have that. Each string is nice and consistent. The tuners work fine. It's nice and tidy inside, and of course you can actually get inside, which makes a massive difference when it goes to changing strings. So thank you, Muzu, for my Batking Bass Ukulele. This is no doubt one I will be taking into school a fair bit, and you will see it in other videos as well. It's a nice looking bass uke. I do hope you've enjoyed this video and you found it useful. Maybe you're looking to buy this particular model, or you're just looking to buy a bass ukulele. As always, if you've got a comment or a question, please feel free, leave it below. Give us a like if you've enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos. Thank you for watching.